we've reached the last real milestone for Famidaily, 1994. I can't even really talk about what's coming up because, well, here's all of 1994's games. Even 1983 had more releases than this. And kicking off the 6 months, we've got Wario no Mori, one of the 2 games tied for the last Nintendo Famicom game. Even the television commercial for these releases told you that this was the end. The Famicom was closing, and Wario and Link had to hurry and get in before it was over. I'll save the Nintendo retrospective for next time, but Wario no Mori marked the ending for a genre as well as a company. This is the last well-based puzzle game on the Famicom. Now that might sound awfully specific, but in the late 80s and early 90s, everyone was trying to make the next Tetris. The closest thing in recent years that I could think to compare it to are Match 3 mobile games. The defining features of the genre are that you always have a pit that items are falling into. There's some condition that will cause those items to be removed, and if your stack reaches the top, then it ends the game. There were roughly 20 games like that on the Famicom, depending on how you want to stretch the definitions. And while that might not sound like a lot, Tetris was released on the Famicom in December of 1988, so game companies were really milking this cow hard. So hard, in fact, that by 1994, the trend had already passed. This style of game just wasn't very popular anymore, with a couple of notable exceptions. Naturally, this is also the only Famicom appearance of Wario. In 1994, he was still the portable Mario bad guy, though the first game where Wario had a starring role was released just a month before this. And for Wario no Mori, Wario is back in the villain role. Instead, you're playing as Toad, who has to make his way through a series of stages in order to reach Wario's castle and defeat him. There are 3 different modes of play. The first is a training mode, which has 12 levels that help you understand the basic game mechanics. The second is a timed mode, where you race to complete a stage as fast as you can. And then there's the round game, which is the story mode. In Game A, you just play straight through, but in Game B, there's also boss stages every 10 levels. The way that the game works is that you have to have at least 3 of the same colored pieces in a row, and at least one of those has to be explosive. When you have that, the colored pieces detonate and then disappear. Most pieces can be eliminated horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, but some pieces can only be eliminated diagonally. There's some pieces that also change color when they explode, and then you'll have to destroy their second color to completely clear them. And there's others that will start flashing when you blow them up, and you have to blow them up a second time before they stop flashing. Bosses are hurt if you blow up a bomb next to them, and it has to be a bomb. If you just blow up a little monster next to them, and the bomb isn't next to them, then they don't take damage. There's one more special type of piece, and that's a diamond. It appears if you detonate 5 in a row. It acts as a bomb, but it's immovable, and when it's destroyed, then all monsters of that color in the well also get destroyed. The way that Toad manages the stack of monsters and bombs is a bit confusing. Toad can run up and down over the entire stack, so you can climb long vertical walls. Hitting B will lift one item that he's next to, which will either be the monster or bomb that he's directly facing, or the item that's in that direction but one space below if there's nothing in the direction Toad is facing, or the piece in the wall that Toad is running over, or pluck the bomb out of the air if it's falling past him. Now you might think that's a lot of variable functions for just one button push, and I'm not done yet. Holding down and pressing B will make Toad kick, and that will knock whatever he's facing away until it falls into a gap or runs into something. The B button is used for multiple pickups. Everything in the space that Toad is facing, and whatever is above it. Toad will also automatically grab anything that lands on him, and so you can carry around a big stack of things, piling them up as they fall from the sky. Getting 3 in a row also counts for whatever Toad is carrying, so you can also match colors above your head. Hitting A or B will put down whatever you're carrying in the space next to Toad, and you can set it down as long as whatever's next to him is only 1 or 2 squares high. If it's more than that, then you can't drop it. And yes, that means you can get stuck in places because something landed on your head. You'll have to hope you can kick your way out or find something like that. On the round stages, there's a timer bar that is ticking up, and when it's full, Wario takes over the stage. When Birdo is there, only bombs drop. When Wario takes over, sometimes monsters will drop. Your goal on every level is to completely eliminate all of the monsters, and if you do that while there's a monster in the air, well, you still have to eliminate that one. Wario also starts making a wooden block at the top of the screen start coming down, and that can crush Toad if it gets low enough. You can push that block back up by eliminating pieces. After a while, Wario will give up, and the stage will go back to Birdo, but the Wario bar is growing again. When you clear a stage, you get some coins, and how many is dependent on how quickly you cleared the level. When you get 30 coins, you get 1 credit that will let you continue from where you left off. Otherwise, the game does have a battery save, and every 5 stages is a checkpoint. There's also a versus mode that follows in the footsteps of Puyo Puyo, where if you make big chains, then you'll throw more junk onto your opponent's side of the screen. Wario no Mori is not a well-regarded game in Japan, mostly for the same reasons I'm about to describe why I didn't like it. Though they also didn't like how Wario is purple in this game. The Super Nintendo version was never released in Japan, though a variation of it was created for the Satellaview, Nintendo's satellite service that would sometimes distribute games and add-ons. That version replaced some of the characters with some celebrities. And I have to say that my opinion on Wario no Mori is that it's just not very good. There's a rule for the design of puzzle games. Complexity should grow out of a simple rule set. In other words, you only give the player a few small things that they can do, and then the implication of those actions allows for a lot of things to happen. Wario no Mori gives you a lot of actions, but for the most part it doesn't feel like they're adding a whole lot. It's making the game more complex, but not more interesting. It becomes a key strategy to maintain a flat stack. Rather than try to work on combos, you have to concentrate on keeping Toad maneuverable, because otherwise you're just going to get stuck someplace. And on later stages you're so close to the top with objects falling so fast that you'll often be setting something up and then just have a piece drop into your hands. Then you have to shift gears to figuring out how to get rid of it safely before you can go back to try to keep working on things. If only one piece fell at a time, at least then you'd have some focus. But you're just flooded with options continuously. Wario no Mori just isn't fun. As Nintendo's last original game on the Famicom, it just feels like a huge misstep.